Hey, Degon, did you hear that Among Us 2 has been canceled?
I sure did, Jimmy. I know that the devs said it was so that they could focus on the first game, but I suspect there's an imposter afoot. Emma, have you seen anything suspicious?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wait a second.
Hello and welcome to The Download, coming to you live from the VENN studio. Hey, the Jammy JK, I see you in chat. Can you do me a favor and hit me with a couple of cat jams?
Cat jam!
Thanks, dude.
That's the noise I hear every time
Appreciate
you
it.
guys use that one. I'm Daniel Degon Gonzales, and that is Emma Fife, and that is Jimmy Wong. Please give us more than just your cat jams. We want to hear every last thought you have.
Every clock? Yeah, why not?
Oh, right?
Make sure you also hit us up
Maybe keep some of them
on
to yourself.
Twitter, Instagram, or Twitch. They're all pretty easy to find. It's at WatchVenn, or you can check out our Discord right there. You can see the link, discord.gg/WatchVenn. See you there soon. Now, later on in the show, we're going to be joined by P1SM, the YouTuber who went viral recently for his video on representation in Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's heartwarming, trust me. But first, it's time for the Lowdown.
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 Nice cat jams, by the way, chat. Breaking news this morning to start the day, Amazon has unveiled its new streaming platform called Amazon Luna. Much like its competitors Google Stadia and Microsoft's xCloud, it will allow players to play games remotely on hardware like Amazon's Fire TV, PCs, Macs, and your iOS device. Now, what separates Luna from those, however, is its web-based app, which means it will circumvent app stores entirely, unlike Google and Microsoft services, which are trying to get you an app to use something like Stadia. So it's going to have an introductory price of $5.99 per month and feature more than 100 games, all powered by AWS, Amazon Web Services. This is very interesting stuff. Can
Yeah.
Amazon pull off what Stadia has not just struggled to do, but in many cases absolutely failed to do?
Yeah, for me, the reason why I'm more excited about this than Stadia is that AWS, the infrastructure in which this is all built upon, is much more robust and much more utilized than what any of the other cloud services provide. I would say maybe HP is up there as well, but AWS is really the one that a lot get used and pushed out. And yes, there's a lot more commercials, a lot more ads on it. I know that the NFL uses it, but even from my, computer security days,
Yeah.
AWS was the go-to. It was the classic. So I feel like the experience is going to be better. And that was the biggest knock on Google Stadia. Hey, look, I push something, there's delay. It's because it's running virtually somewhere else. But
Right.
if it's running on AWS, I think there's a world where you push a button and it feels very, very real.
So you think that this is going to cut out some of the problems that we experienced with things like Google Stadia, where largely my understanding of it was that it had to do with people's individual internet capabilities? Like, are we
Yes.
gonna run into the same? Because I mean, obviously, this is more like truly a Netflix model, unlike, say, a Game Pass, which I don't think we really got into yesterday, where it's like with Game Pass, you have access to all these games, but you still do have to download them to your own machine. But we're talking about a cloud-based system here, and so you think that this is gonna work better, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Game Pass and PlayStation Plus are the same thing where, hey, you have access to
Right.
these things, but you have to download it. Whereas Google Stadia and now Luna are the same thing where it's, hey, you don't need the system. You can play on the cloud as long as
Right.
you pay the subscription service.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they're promising, again, like Stadia did in a lot of ways, 4K and 60 frames per second on select titles. They're very, very careful to say select titles this time. A big difference is, though, they have a standalone controller. It's going to be a $50 controller. The controller itself has wireless in it.
Yeah.
So it's not connecting to your TV or your phone. It's connecting straight to the actual service of Luna. So that means that if you're playing on your Luna TV and go, you know what, I want to switch to my phone, you could seamlessly do that because your controller is not actually pairing with the devices. So I think that's actually a really interesting way of going about it as well.
It's an attack on the pass. It's attack on Stadia. A little bit of attack on Switch now because we've talked about it before. When it's standalone, it feels different. You get to go to the bathroom but still play the game. And it doesn't feel like you're connected to anything else. You can leave the house and still do that
Yeah.
if you have some sort of connection or can tether it to your phone or something like that. So there's a lot here to unpack. It all just came out. I think the other thing that stands out here is that you can play this within the browser. So in the browser,
No apps
there's
needed.
there's no native app. You don't need to download anything extra.
Yeah, and also the integration with Twitch, who Amazon, of course, owns, and the
Right.
idea that basically with Luna now, if somebody is streaming a Luna-hosted game and you are watching that stream, it's gonna be like a one-click to hop into that game.
Yeah, and when you're playing the game, you can watch streams, and if you're on the stream, you can be like, I also want to play Resident Evil 7. Click a
Yeah.
button, it loads up in your browser. If you have a controller, you can also still play with mouse and keyboard. It's interesting, I think by virtue of the fact that they had time to wait and let Stadia play itself out,
Yep.
Yeah.
gave them a lot of chances probably to iterate and make this into a version that would avoid the same pitfalls.
Right,
Yeah.
as well as xCloud, right? We've heard things about Project xCloud by Microsoft. That's Microsoft's version of their cloud. And, you know, they're, again, just like it was difficult to bet against Google, the power of Google, the infrastructure, the internet, all that stuff, Google has a lot of that. Same thing with Microsoft. You know, I'm also interested in seeing what their offering was. Whereas,
Yes.
you know, again, just like what Amazon was able to see how Google did, now Microsoft has two different examples.
Right,
of how things
and well, in the case of Amazon with Luna, they are going to be offering titles like, as Jimmy mentioned, Resident Evil 7 and also Control. But if they shift to carrying just more of the Amazon first-party titles, it's kind of a mixed bag there,
Yes.
if we're being honest. You know, Crucible wasn't great,
That was not good.
but Spellbreak is crushing it right now.
Is crushing it.
What was it, like they've reached 5 million?
Yeah, 5 million.
Yeah.
I mean, check out this amazing poll we fashioned in like 3 minutes here. It
Yeah.
looks like a lot of people are very high on the Luna, especially compared to what
Yeah.
xCloud and Stadia. Now, keep in mind, xCloud is a little bit different here, and Stadia, I think, is the most direct one-to-one comparison.
Yes.
But that has been plagued, and I've done press events for the Stadia. That has just been plagued by a lot of bad press, and T-God knows. So I think it's really interesting. If anything, generally competition like this tends to raise everyone up simultaneously, and at the end of the day, in the same way that we have a Netflix and a Hulu and an HBO Max, we may in the future have a Stadia, a Xbox version, and a Google version, and an Amazon, you know, whatever.
We're just reinventing, I don't know, Blockbuster?
Yeah, just make it easier. Make it easier.
Yep, where you don't have to go anywhere. All right, moving on. Microsoft has unveiled the price for the storage expansion card in its next generation Xboxes. For 1 terabyte of storage, it'll set buyers back $220.
Oh.
It's like 7 Mulans. That price may seem high, and it is in comparison to other terabyte drives, but the Seagate-produced card will allow for the fast load times next-gen consoles are touting. For any backwards compatible games, however, players can still use USB 3.1 or 3.2 drives. Now, with the size of games getting more and more massive and the needs for fast connectivity, do we think this is a fair price for a terabyte of space?
No, it's not. I mean, okay, so what did we looked it up, and 2 terabyte hard drives right now are running you what, like
About the same
$100
price.
Yeah.
Oh, about the same price.
Yeah, so 1 terabyte.
1 terabyte's about $100.
Half, yeah. Half
Okay.
the cost, yeah.
But that's the thing is that is basically like Xbox, it seems like is forcing you to use their own hardware as opposed to
totally.
because like otherwise couldn't you just go buy a 1 terabyte solid state drive and put it into your Xbox, but you can't.
Yeah, the connection won't work.
Yeah.
It needs to be specifically in that slot. Now, notably, it is pretty small. If you take an iPhone, it's about half the size of it as a CF card, so it's about that big.
Sure.
So that's like, the size is nice, but the fact that they can charge this much means that they did this before with the
Yes.
360. They had their little hard drive attachment that costs an astronomical amount. It's kind of like Apple being like, hey, you want to buy an Apple mouse?
1,000%.
You don't have to buy our version.
I absolutely see the Apple comparison there because there are so many Apple products that use a dumb cable that only Apple products use, and this feels like that.
Yes, but there's a precedence for this already, right? When the
Sure.
PlayStation and PlayStation 2 came out, what did you save things on?
A memory card!
You had to save it on the memory card.
Classic.
When you wanted to play Zelda and I think Perfect Dark,
Yeah.
what did you have to get on the N64?
expansion pack?
The
Yeah.
expansion
No,
pack.
you're right,
So
you're
like,
right.
this has been a thing that's done before.
Sure.
But so I don't think there's outrage on like, hey, why is this happening? It's like, wow, this has always happened. I think where it all comes back to is, do you remember how excited we were? Do you remember how much good press Xbox got when it was like, hey, look, we're
Xbox.
$299, we're
Yeah,
super cheap,
exactly.
everyone thought it was gonna be $700.
I had the exact same
And
thought.
I got you. You know what? It's like going to a computer store and saying, hey, I'd like to buy a PC. And they're like, sure, we'll give you a PC. You get a PC, it's like, hey, where's my keyboard? Where's my
Yeah.
mouse?
Where's my stuff?
Where's my monitor?
Yeah.
Right? Like, you gotta buy all of that. So I think it goes back to the whole strategy that I assumed Xbox would have, which is why when we did our guesses and I guessed astronomically high and everyone made fun of me,
It was actually the combination of an Xbox plus a hard drive.
It was all about getting it in the house. Just get it in the
100%.
house.
Get it in the house, as you say. Well, and yeah, they have now priced these consoles at prices that seem very affordable. But as you mentioned, like a PC, there are a lot more components that go into making this console actually usable. I will be so curious to see what happens with PlayStation because they're offering a PlayStation 5 that does not have a disk drive. So where are you going to store all those games? Only time will tell.
A memory card.
Wait, keep in mind, Xbox One S is $400, right?
Yeah.
For the Xbox. This memory card is half the price of a console. This big.
Yep. Well, on a more serious note, the legend of the Snyder Cut continues as director Zack Snyder has scheduled additional shoots to fill out scenes for what has become a 4-episode limited series version of the much-aligned 2017 film Justice League. Most interestingly, the new call sheet includes Ray Fisher as Cyborg. According to a report from The Hollywood Reporter, Fisher has been involved in a very public spat with Warner Brothers as he claims leadership-enabled abusive behavior from stand-in director Joss Whedon. The executives he levied his accusations against have since left the studio. Are we surprised to see Fisher return for even more Justice League content?
Yes, because there's definitely enough content that was filmed to make a whole different Snyder Cut, which means that Zack Snyder is probably personally making an appeal to have this happen. We know that other actors are publicly, including the Aquaman actor, is publicly on the side of Fisher as well. Generally, as an actor myself, if you're gonna go speak out against the studio, don't ever expect for them to call your number ever again. And so that's one of those things which is really surprising in this case, which means that there are going to definitely be people behind the scenes who are saying, yes, we need this person here. Yes, we have to do it. And plus, I think the public backlash, especially given current circumstances, would be very vicious towards the entire franchise if he wasn't included.
Yeah. So Jason Momoa speaking out, he's a kind of actor and kind of a human. It's been documented that would stand up for those things. Plus, he has other jobs elsewhere. So that makes sense. I'm interested in when others will stand up. But so I think before anyone else had to stand up, maybe this is a really cool play there by Snyder to curtail the drama, because it shouldn't be about that. It should be about the story that these actors should be able to get to put out and say.
It definitely, I think, puts me in the place of having respect for Zack Snyder from the point of view of him probably being one of the voices that said, hey, we need this person to properly make this now miniseries that I want to make. I don't care personally about the Snyder Cut really one way or another. I'm so glad that it exists for the people that really want to see it, and also we can stop talking about it. But I do think that the inclusion of Ray Fisher is a big deal, especially considering the fact that he is in such heated negotiations with Warner right now as far as his appearance in the upcoming Flash film goes, because of the fact that he was so vocal about the abuse that he endured on the set of Justice League. Yeah,
there is unfortunately a recurring theme of actors just act. You're already so privileged to have X, Y, and Z, and so I think there's a little bit of animosity that things like this create, because people typically don't like to see, good-looking, handsome actors that are successful complain about stuff. But it's very necessary, as we all know, that abuse is something that is systemic in almost every single industry, very much so including the games industry. So the fact that Ray Fisher is getting a grant on another chance to play this character from the original director, one that is beloved by fans, means I think that we are moving towards a world where holding someone accountable does not necessarily erase your future career.
Well, except, there is also the thing where Warner Brothers is still working with Joss Whedon on The Nerves. So that also is speaking to them being on the side of the other director. It is a murky situation, but I am very glad to see that Ray Fisher is going to be involved in these additional shoots for Justice League. And hopefully the fact that he is on the call sheet, suggesting that he is in fact going in for them, suggests that he does have a good relationship with Zack Snyder.
Yeah, and I will say that if they are still working with Whedon, many, many worse directors have gotten away with far worse.
100%.
And Joss Whedon is on that scale, obviously, given these stories and the things that we know about him now. So that does not surprise me. And it shouldn't surprise anyone.
No.
But it should certainly make you think about it.
Yeah.
It's time for the download to take a break. When we come back, a Marvel antihero we haven't quite seen yet is coming to Fortnite. Who would have guessed? Before we go, it's time for your daily solo queue. Chance the Rapper recently revealed how much money he made off of his 3 hat in 1 year. Was it A, $6,000, B, $60,000, C, $6 million, or D, $6 billion?
A lot of coloring books.
Head to VENN.tv/play to guess or drop your answer right in the chat. Results after the break. Catch you that way.
Welcome back to the download. Before the break, we asked you how much Chance the Rapper made off his 3 hat in 1 year. The options were A, 6,000, B, 60,000, C, 6 million, or D, 6 billion. You at home think that it is $6 million, and you are correct. At first I thought, no way, but to be honest, there were a lot of people that 3 on their heads, so I guess I can figure with that logic. Now, whether they're fans of Chance the Rapper or just the number 3, I guess we'll never know.
Hey.
I guess we'll never know, you know? But I know that there's a lot of fakes out there, so only the realest for your boy D-Gon that waits for the freshest stuff. You know, I would wait in line only for.
What a quality hat that is.
Yeah.
Really nice.
You could feel Chance's energy just flowing through my hair right now.
Yeah, as well as the masking tape.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No,
I'm Daniel D-Gon Gonzales. That's Jimmy Walken. Just to the left of the chat, just to the little bit of left is Emma 5.
It is a big news day, so it's time to dig into some more stories in downloadable content. Finally, video games are getting the recognition they deserve. The Tribeca Film Festival announced this morning that it will be adding games to its official selection in 2021. To make those selections, Tribeca has put together an advisory board, including the ever-present Jeff Keighley, legendary developer Hideo Kojima, director Jon Favreau, and head of Halo Transmedia Kiki Wolfkill, among others. Jimmy, is this an about-time moment for you?
I didn't even actually think about Tribeca and film festivals to be adding video games.
Yeah.
I thought like this, if anything, you know, like maybe Comic-Con has a new award system that it's doing. Maybe there's gonna be another awards show outside of the current ones. But this is actually really nice. Tribeca is a very big film festival. And I really hope that we get some great recognition for some of the best games out there every single year.
Yeah, and you know, I'm just starting to get worried because this is starting to get a little bit now highbrow, a little bit more established. And what it means is people recognize that, hey, there's money to be made here and we should recognize and celebrate these things. And, you know, it's starting to get a little bit outside the realm. I do like the fact that it'll be pushing forward the narrative type games, the storylines of games, but I'm worried about the non-experts outside that are like, yeah, I want to focus in on this too, and get it wrong.
I actually disagree with that. I'm excited to see that video games are going to be recognized in Tribeca, if only for the fact that Tribeca is a film festival wherein a lot of movies are able to get recognition and distribution, and maybe we see something happening like that for some of these indie game studios that are making these really interesting and creative games that are just not getting the same amount of attention as AAA titles.
Yeah, fingers crossed there. And that the submission process doesn't cost like $10,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
Fortnite patch 14.20 dropped this morning, and with it comes a whole bunch of new Marvel stuff, including a new boss in Wolverine himself and a tease for an upcoming Blade something. A skin, perhaps? It also dropped a ton of new cosmetics for the game, plus, oh, you know, just the preparation for a little band called BTS to play in-game.
Who?
Very exciting.
I'm just kidding, please, BTS fans, I was kidding.
Well, outside of not being excited for BTS, internet take note, D-Gon, what are you most stoked about, if anything, about patch 14.2?
Oh, Wolverine being in it. Wolverine was my dad's favorite X-Men. We grew up watching X-Men, and again, Fortnite has the uncanny ability of being able to put something that you connected with outside the game, in the game, and make it comfortable and realistic and interact with it. And they did it yet again for me. So for me, it's Wolverine being in there.
Blade, baby, that's what it's all about. I don't know exactly what capacity Blade is going to be featured in this game. If it is a skin, I am for it. Give me some over-the-top vampire hunter who's also half vampire action. That's what's up.
Yeah, Blade's gonna be cool if he comes in.
I will say though, I wonder how they get the rights to using Dynamite, because that song's a banger.
So they actually had a whole explanation of exactly what was gonna go down with Dynamite, where like there's a whole rollout for it. So yeah, it's look it up. It's interesting.
All right, we'll do later. All right, but right now, Minecraft has 100 gex. And American football, while Fortnite had Travis Scott and Anderson .Paak. But now Roblox has Ava Max performing soon. Oh, and PUBG Mobile is full-blown promoting an upcoming concert from K-pop stars Blackpink. Obviously, many of these digital concerts are a result of the COVID pandemic. Emma, do you think games are going to continue to be stops for tours or for musicians, or is this just a fad?
Listen, we're gonna be in this for a while, so I'm firmly on the side of yes. You know, Fortnite definitely kind of revolutionized this whole idea, and clearly it's not going anywhere, especially when you're introducing things like K-pop stars, and Blackpink are amazing. I'm a huge Blackpink fan, so to me it's really exciting that they're doing a concert in PUBG, and then pairing that with BTS being in Fortnite. I mean, like this is the revolution. This is the cross-section of culture and gaming that is absolutely here to stay.
And I just really hope that smaller artists get a chance to still showcase their stuff, because I know so many people were like, oh, I'm a DJ, I'm gonna DJ on Instagram Live. Get your stream taken down immediately. I wanna do this on Twitch. DMC takedown requests. So I think like there's a lot that needs to get given to these smaller creators, but it is great to see that this is a trend that is continuing, and now the snowball is just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but I want to see which artist and which, I guess, app will be able to take it to VR. There's a couple of good ones. Wave is one that I use. You pop in, and it's a full immersive experience. I think Crystal Method is the one that I got to watch, and it's just, the floor disappears, there's lava, you can fly, like, it's really cool, and you do it with other people in the game with you also experiencing it. So which artist is it going to take to push it into VR? That's what I want to see.
Nice.
All right, the Xbox team has released its first TikTok, and well, it's pretty self-aware. The meme-filled video showed the alleged social media manager scrolling through their photos and videos, showing off tons of comparisons the two consoles have made. Jimmy, did this tickle your jimmies?
It tickled me. It got a giggle out of me as well. I mean, it's funny. I was expecting to see more cheese graters, but this is the exact kind of thing that we've seen every social media team start to take note of, which is make fun of yourself. See what the internet is saying, because I will say that nothing keeps you more honest than the internet in a lot of ways, when it's not being toxic, right?
Yep.
And a lot of times people just want to get a laugh, people want to bring a little levity to their lives, and this is exactly what they're doing, and Xbox is showcasing that.
Yeah, become what they say you are, and they can never use it against you.
Yeah.
Wear it like armor.
It's true.
Xbox jumping right in there.
Fighting bullying one step at a time.
Yeah, again, it's just, and I feel like that's how social media has worked. We saw Fortnite being super aware, Fortnite was super hyper aware, Fall Guys super hyper aware, and so now Xbox, their very first one coming off right off the bat, being like, hey, look, we know it looks like a lot of things, turntables, toasters, and then being photoshopped in places. You love to see it.
You love to see it. You love to see Xbox taken to the TikToks. So you can go check that out, because it is time for us to take a break.
Hey.
But when we return, Aaron Ashley Simon and Matt Mr. X will join us to argue about whether skill-based matchmaking belongs in Call of Duty.
Controversial.
Ooh, spicy.
Today on VENN, Swifter is joining Chrissy Costanza in the guest house to play games, hang out, and talk with all of you in chat. So stick around here on VENN at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it.
All right, welcome back to The Download. As you can see, both Aaron Ashley Simon and Matt Mr. X have joined me. You know what that means. It's time for eSports! And this is the Outplay. All right, so over the weekend, the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Alpha test reignited the skill-based matchmaking debate, as many players, including the Chicago Huntsman's Scump, one of the most famous players in COD, noted that the next in long-running shooters would have the feature. In response, technology fellow at Treyarch Martin Donlan pointed out that skill-based matchmaking has been in all Call of Duty games since the first Modern Warfare. Matt, let's start with you. Does skill-based matchmaking have a place in Call of Duty?
It does in a certain circumstance. I believe that without a ranked playlist, like its own individual kind of area, you would need skill-based matchmaking for casual play, because you kind of need a way to balance teams and whatnot. I believe if there is a ranked play, though, and there's a spot for those people to go and be competitive and play at a higher level, that there doesn't really need to be skill-based matchmaking in the casual form of play. I think it's something that affects all games now. I think it's more aware now because there's so many more players, and there's so many more players at the higher end than there were like back in the day in other games. So I believe if there's no ranked play, it should exist. If there is a ranked play, not in the casual mode.
Yeah.
Aaron, what do you think?
And I mean, also, everyone's so focused on, skill-based matchmaking and rankings, but we also need to have a focus on the fact that cheating is still a problem, no matter if it's casual or if it's rank-based. Activision has been taking legal action against companies that have been exploiting cheating bugs, but still, it doesn't matter if we're going to make this adjustment with skills, so as long as people consistently cheat, it's going to impact casual and the competitive scene within the game as a whole.
Yeah, it was an interesting conversation overall, just because skill-based matchmaking, since open matchmaking has been around, is been in the system. So a lot of people complain, hey, look, it's hard for me to stream. Hey, look, it's not as fun when all of a sudden everyone I'm playing against is good. Like, sometimes I want a relaxing mode. So I think I piggyback your sentiment here, Matt, where it's like, hey, look, if there is a ranked mode, then there is no need for skill-based matchmaking. But if there isn't, then you definitely need it in place. All right, on Tuesday, tournament organizer ESL revealed its plans for its 2021 CSGO season with a dedicated studio and more regular tournament weekends. On Wednesday, Riot Games announced First Strike, the first Valorant tournament created by the game's developer and publisher. Aaron, what do these events say about the right way of running an esports scene?
I mean, honestly, it really depends on the game as well as the community. I mean, we've seen so much success, especially when it comes to FPS and tactical shooters, and as well as the likes of Riot Games, and Riot Games being more hands-on, and having that balance of being hands-on, but also giving support to grassroots and upcoming initiatives. However, we've seen things like the fighting game community, which is strictly and predominantly grassroots and community driven until eventually they got in dev support. And in some cases, they still don't get dev support and publisher support like Nintendo. So it really just depends on what community and game moving forward.
Yeah, and I want to build upon that because I think the fighting game community is kind of more on one side of things where it's like very grassroots, and organizations only pop up because the grassroots thing isn't big enough, or you have like Smash, the Summit and things of that nature that organize these things because, hey, look, you can only reach so far in your local city, whereas now that, like ESL, they've become these big conglomerates that, with the best interest in mind, trying to push forward events and have built upon years and years of experience. I think that there should be open markets. There should be ways to mix both together, where like the international for Dota, where you got a whole season of random open tournaments, but then you've got the one big classic first party tournament.
Yeah, and I also think there's a world, right, in which, the game franchises are big enough, there's enough interest where you have a lot of the franchise leagues, like you see with, League of Legends, Call of Duty, Overwatch. You have, buy-in fees from the owners, right? You kind of pool all that together. You have the resources that some of these leagues have, and you really kind of blow out, make a big infrastructure that is set to last for years.
All right, well, we'll see how that all pans out when these tournaments kick off. It seems YouTube is taking cues from its direct competitor Twitch, as Riot Games announced it partnered with the video service to provide in-game drops for watching Worlds 2020 on the platform. Sounds pretty familiar, right? Aaron, this is a big get for YouTube. Is this the service officially ready to be a threat to Twitch's live viewership dominance?
I think maybe YouTube later on has a chance, but right now Twitch is where esports lives, and we're gonna rank even the platforms. It goes from Twitch, Reddit, Twitter, then YouTube. And YouTube is a place even for older audiences to watch esports, and not really so much the younger demo right now. And also it's a place for VODs as well as repeat VOD users. So I don't think that YouTube in the immediate near future is going to be outdoing Twitch, but it's possibly later on. But until then, Twitch is where esports is thriving.
See, I think that YouTube is already there. I think, you have to obviously kind of like add some like bells and whistles, but if you follow Fwiz on Twitter, they're always kind of adding more to the YouTube platform. But the quality when you watch on YouTube is really, really good compared to like sometimes when you watch on Twitch. And then also you have the ability, which is so important for esports, to just watching games at a high level, to kind of replay and go back live. Like you're able to do that so easily on YouTube and then just catch up to the live viewing of what's going on. It's a platform that's really set up to be huge for esports.
Yeah, and that I feel like is a big thing, right? The technology on YouTube, sometimes a little bit more user-friendly, but if you wanted to be around other users, the community side of things, Twitch has had that on lock for such a long time. And YouTube's tried in different ways, hasn't been able to do it. So if you want the better viewing experience to me, head on over to YouTube. You know when the action's gonna be fast or not. So if the broadcast can't get to a replay, you can get to it and jump right back into the action. Whereas if you wanna be there, you wanna say, hey, I was there when this play was made. I was there when they blocked the ultimate combo and then was able to get the final hit, then I think Twitch has been pretty dominant right there. All right, thanks fellow esports enthusiasts. Yeah. Now we have our DraftKings expert to bring you your esports fantasy update.
Welcome to this week's Fantasy Esports Update powered by DraftKings. I'm your host, Rob Reforge Gonzales. Today we're going to take a quick look at some targets for the DraftKings League of Legends World Championship Fantasy Contests, where new users can play free for their share of over $100,000 in total prizes when they make their first deposit. Just make sure you download the DraftKings app and use the promo code VENN when you sign up. Here's a quick reminder on how to build your lineups for tomorrow. Choose your favorite players at each position and one extra player as your captain who gives you 1.5 times the points, as well as one team you think will do well. Each player has a salary and we have to stay under that $50,000 salary cap when we choose our picks for the contest. Now let's look and see who I have this week. I'm taking Team Liquid's ADC Tactical at 10,200 in the captain slot. The rookie has shown he's capable of big performances on the Rift and in daily fantasy, with the highest percentage of his team's damage of any LCS ADC in summer, and was top 3 in both kill participation and kill share. My choice in the top lane is Legacy Esports import Tapoon at 6,200. He led OPL top laners with 15 solo kills in the regular split and was the league leader among top laners in damage per minute and damage percentage. In the jungle, I'm going back to TL as part of my main stack with their jungler Broxa. He's only $6,000 and brings international finals experience to this matchup versus Mad Lions. Mid lane belongs to Jensen for only 6,800. He gets a premium matchup against Humanoid, who had the highest death percentage of any LEC mid laner during the summer split. With Tactical locked in at captain, the next best ADC matchup falls to Kramer from LGD at 8,000. His lane opponent D is another last-minute replacement for PSG Talon, and LGD should capitalize on the lack of synergy between D and his support Kai Wing. Core JJ from Team Liquid is my support pick, and his $4,600 price tag is an insane value. He has the highest kill participation of any support on the slate, which makes him an easy choice. Finally, in the team slot, I would love to go with Team Liquid, but instead it falls to LGD. LGD should jump out to an early lead against PSG Talon, as the team only secures first blood in 10% of their matches. I look for LGD to cruise to victory and secure a nice bucket of points for us. To review our picks, it's Tactical, Tapoon, Broxa, Jensen, Kramer, Core JJ, and LGD. That's my lineup for the first day of the League of Legends World Championships. Don't forget, you can play free for your share of over $100,000 in total prizes on DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy esports. Just download the app and sign up with the promo code VENN to get in on the action and play for real cash prizes. Now, if you have any questions about your lineup or about daily fantasy at all, drop them in the chat or go ahead and just find me on Twitter at Reforge. Until then, I'll be answering some questions, so back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Rob. Still to come, this Fall Guys art is really messing with us.
Look at the eyeballs.
There's a lot going on there.
I can't believe they did this.
Humans are evolving.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Download. I'm Erin Ashley Simon. Now, if you didn't know, this month is National Hispanic Heritage Month, and every year, Americans observe this celebration from September 15th to October 15th by celebrating the histories, cultures, and contributions of citizens whose ancestors have come from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central, and South America. And today we would like to honor Hispanic community members in the gaming as well as the esports community. Let's take a look.
The question here is, why does Hispanic and Latino presence matter?
Why representation matters.
Representation matters.
Representation matters for many reasons.
I think every representation matters within the industry. I think it's important for everyone to have a voice.
So now translate that into your passions, right?
And really come to understand other people.
And that's what it's all about, dedicating their lives to the thing they're most passionate about. That's just so inspiring to me.
We've been around in the industry for a very long time.
But it's also about growth of all of us as humankind.
We need to see more of that.
It's really important and key to teaching tolerance, respect, appreciation, and many other forms of expression.
And will allow people to relate in more ways that we could possibly understand.
It doesn't matter where they're from.
Stay positive and continue to do you. And I think that there is always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel.
You guys are super talented, but show your talent to the world. The reason why I'm saying this, I never gave up.
Media has an incredible ability to allow us to experience things that we have never been able to experience before.
And we should support more of that. We need to talk about and be vocal about this, man.
We bring so much to the table.
On behalf of the Hispanics and all the Latinos out there, continue to work hard and define success for yourself. And don't let anyone take that away from you.
And that is why representation matters.
So, for some of you guys who may not know, I myself am Puerto Rican, and for me especially, being Afro-Latina is meaningful and the representation is meaningful. The gaming industry as a whole has actually a small percentage of Hispanic personnel and even smaller highlighted Afro-Latinx individuals when it comes to a larger scale. And that's why people like Aziza, Diana, even a friend of mine, Red Infamy, are just some of the individuals that we would love to continue to highlight. And I hope it changes, and I know that we will continue to help that change because Amo a mi gente, which means I love my people, and I'm happy that we're able to utilize VENN as a platform to highlight this community and all communities. Now, Digon, for you, you are also Hispanic and have Hispanic heritage. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, for those who don't know, my mother is Honduran. So that makes me half Honduran. So I'm half Filipino, half Honduran, American citizen, born here and raised here. And so it's been a journey trying to learn about that and figure that out. One way that has made it very difficult is because the language. And so while my mom knows it, speaks it, and is bilingual, I struggled a little bit, especially early on, because I have a very distinct look, but then I don't have a lot of other features on the other side that are Honduran. And so it's been a long process of understanding the language and understanding that, hey, I've always wanted to be someone that can have other people look at me and look at my story and say, hey, there is a way for us to get to the places that we want to get to, which includes successful careers, which includes successful lives, and just success in general, because a lot of our parents that moved over, that immigrated over, have had the goal in mind of giving that opportunity to us. And so for all of those that, especially in the Latino community, are being shut down and unable to get there, you know, you really want to make sure that those barriers are removed, especially during this month in gaming and entertainment. So thank you, Mom, for being such a fantastic role model for me, and I hope that I continue to do that proud.
You do, Digon.
Yes. Yes, thank you to Digon's mom, thank you to my mom, thank you to everyone, because representation matters to so many others, including content creator JC, who went viral for his own emotional reaction to a moment during a recent Spider-Man Miles Morales gameplay trailer. Let's take a look at it.
Representation matters. It matters. This is awesome to see. My heritage, part of my heritage, just being on display with a character that I love.
You gonna vote for?
All right. All right, and now JC is here with us. JC, we just saw your emotional reaction to seeing representation and seeing someone like yourself, not only in a video game, but a big franchise. Talk to us a little bit more about that moment.
It was crazy. I wasn't expecting it, especially, I mean, with a game as big as Spider-Man. You know, Into the Spider-Verse came out, and that kind of put Miles' cultural representation on the map, and it kind of normalized it. And so, you know, video games kind of have this habit of like including culture, but not really expanding upon it, just kind of have it being token. So then when you see something like this, when you see the flags everywhere, where you see the salsa music, and when you see the Vejigante masks, and you become overwhelmed by how much care and attention these developers went forth to put all of this stuff in a video game when they really didn't have to, but it just hits you like a ton of bricks. It's just like, wow, like these people, they care about me. They care about my culture. They care about my heritage enough to want to put it out there, not only just willy-nilly, but with enough care and attention and enough pride to make us feel good about ourselves.
Yeah. And also, does gaming as a whole, from your own perspective, does it do a good job, or is it doing a better job when it comes to highlighting Hispanic heritage and or people within the games and in the industry as a whole too?
I feel like there's still room to work on it, because there's not a whole lot of representation that's mostly positive when it comes to Hispanics. We're usually always the same tropes every single time. We're all either Mexican, which there's nothing wrong with being Mexican, but we're all labeled as one thing. We're either drug barons, gangsters, strippers, prostitutes. We're never anything positive. So for this game in particular to kind of change up the pace a bit, and hopefully other games down along the line to hopefully change up the pace a bit and try and promote us as a positive influence, would go a long way. But it's looking bright. The future's looking bright, and I'm hoping that changes are made for sure.
Yeah, is there a specific character or game that resonates with you as a member of the Hispanic community?
This would be the only one, to be honest, because the other games haven't really done so good of a job. But yeah, Miles Morales would be the game.
Okay, and then as a whole, what does representation mean, and why does representation matter?
Representation means being put on a platform on equal footing as to everyone else, where you're not being exploited, where you're not being looked down upon because of race or ethnicity. And it matters because it makes us feel like we matter, like we are valued, we are included. And so many things in our life, being people of color, whether you're Black, Hispanic, Asian, Arabic, we don't feel like we belong. So when we start to see things that make us feel like our representation matters, we feel like we finally belong.
Yes, and here at VENN, we just want to tell you, JC, that us VENN members want to let you know you matter. Our viewers, you guys matter, and we will do everything that we can to show you guys day in, day out how much we care and appreciate every single one of you in the gaming community. JC, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective, and I hope that representation continues to grow across the board in gaming, in an industry that we all have come to love wholeheartedly.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Aaron.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Aaron. When we come back, anime is becoming real. How? Take your guesses in the chat and find out how when we return.
Pixelized stuff from Japan always makes me very wary. Welcome back to The Download. Before the break, we teased anime becoming real. Now, sure, we could have been talking about international intrigue or something exciting about the NBA Finals, or even a slice of your love life. But could you have guessed Gundams are becoming real?
It's amazing!
I totally missed my window to be a pilot. I'm way over the age of 15.
All right, time for TLDR. First up, that's right, this life-size Gundam in Yokohama was officially tested by its creators earlier this week. Gundam Factory Yokohama created the 59-foot tall Gundam over the course of 6 years, with the final project weighing more than 55,000 pounds. Just be happy it can't fly. yet.
But it's
Dunt.
getting there.
This video is at 4x speed. I'd watch it if it was at 0.5x speed.
Yep. I would be interested to watch it in real time, just like slowly.
Yeah.
When's it whip out the laser sword?
Oh, God, yeah.
All right. We knew that the actual Fall Guys were human-sized,
6 feet.
Degon-sized,
That's right,
apparently.
6 feet.
6 feet. And we were happy to find that information out. But did we really need to see what their skeletons looked like? Really, Mediatonic? Really? These are...
What is this?
I mean, there's something. It's like a weird dinosaur? I don't... there's a lot going on here.
Can we all try and replicate it?
Yeah. I would say it makes sense, you know, that the spinal cord is kind of bent that way so that it
flies forward. Because you can't dive backwards, you can only dive forwards.
Where is it making the woo noise from, though, is what I want to know.
Woo, woo.
Out of its eyes.
Follow up, Mediatonic. Give us a follow-up on how the vocal boxes work within these Fall Guy structures. Now, Sega is developing a live-action Yakuza adaptation in collaboration with 1212 Entertainment and Wild Sheep Content, Variety has reported. The long-running video game series has been a cult favorite for years, but has only recently gained popularity in the West. Details are sparse as it stands, but it does imply that Sega is looking to continue adapting its franchises after the success of the Sonic movie.
Nice. Yakuza, one of just a huge fan favorite around the world. I love these
Listen, to me, this makes a lot more sense as a film than Sonic. Because like, Sonic, you got a hedgehog. This, you just got to get down in Japan with the nitty gritty, and I'm in.
There's a really good director. There's a lot of humor in it. All right. PC hardware manufacturer Rocket has unveiled its latest keyboard, the Vulcan Pro. The keyboard features optical switches the company says are 40 times faster than standard mechanical keyboards and also have significantly longer lifespan, hitting more than 100 million clicks. I've always wondered how they test the number of clicks. Jimmy, do you know?
909,970,987,
Jimmy, I'm pretty sure that there's actually like a robot that does that for you, that like manual testing.
900.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Diego? What are you doing? Not funny, not funny. I'm so close. 9,970,000. Ah, I messed up. I have to start over.
Start from the beginning. Well, Jimmy,
you know what?
I'm sorry.
Anytime I want to do something, you guys are always messing with me.
Okay.
Not nice.
That's because there's machines that do that for us.
Rocket
said
I'm not a machine. I'm a real human boy.
Get on our level. All right, that is going to do it for us here on the download. Everyone, F in chat for Jimmy for his failed keyboard experiment. All right, Jimmy is starting over again.
One,
we'll let you know how that goes and see you tomorrow.
Bye. Oh, that was bad. I'll try again.